When I first got the FP intake, I didn't have the proper air filter to mount this, to use the MAF and the FP intake pipe. I do have right now the 9-inch FP K&N filter, but obviously that's the wrong one, or it wouldn't fit given the size. So I had to use some piece of junk eBay that I had in my cabinet for now. I don't even have a clamp on it. I don't have nothing. So I'll be replacing that today with something more efficient. I decided to use the bracket that I have, the 4.5 inch, and buy a 4.5 inch inlet K&N air filter. This air filter is part number RU3480. Tools needed for this install to replace the the air filter is a simple screwdriver. That's all you're gonna need. First step for me, let me pull off the recirculated hose off the blow valve. That's out. Next, you want to disconnect your 2G MAF plug. Simple. And just put it out of the way. If you do have clamps on your filters or your turbo side, you're probably going to have a clamp here clamped onto your stock turbo inlet, or this one, which is an FP green. So you loosen that up, and that's pretty much it. For the cast intake pipe, this might get in the way, so I'm gonna pull it off. If you have a stock intake, you're probably gonna have a breather hose from your valve cover on the side, as well as a small vacuum hose on this side coming from the stock boost solenoid, as well as a third larger, about this diameter hose coming from, I believe it's the evap section of the whole of the car. So you just unplug those, pull those. This one, it's nothing, so I'm all set with that. So yeah, loosen this, loosen that, loosen the turbo inlet clamp, and kind of just wiggle it out of place, and there you have it. Whenever I pull out the intake pipe for any turbo that I've had, I always, since the intake pipe is off, it takes no effort to reach down and check your wheel play to make sure there's no excess. So that's what I'm going to do now. It's still kind of hot, so there's a little bit, but nothing to worry about. You can just feel the wheel on this thing. This thing is just, it's got so much inertia once it starts spinning. Much better than the T25. To replace, you pull off the older one. Garbage. Make sure the honeycombs aren't beat up or for whatever reason. They shouldn't be, since you have an air filter. That's what the air filter is for. And you install the new one. Simple as that. Make sure your clamp is tightened, and that's about it for the intake portion of this setup. Once you have all that together, just slide in the pipe. This can be a pain in the ass, but obviously if it was there, it'll go back in. goes. It's always best to position everything in one shot. I slid this in here, and obviously I already placed the recirculating tube back on the blow-off valve. So, yep, it's on there. That's that. Okay. Next is to plug back in the MAF connector. Make sure it clicks. That's in. And tighten your blow-off valve recirc tube. Okay, that's that. So your turbo inlet side is in, recirc tube is in, your 2G MAF connector is in, and as I said, if you have the stock intake, plug in your boost solenoid line, your evap hose, and the breather tube for the valve cover. Once you have the K&N filter in and the intake itself, you slide the overflow tank in. Make sure it clips. You hear it clicking. Guide your overflow tube down where it's supposed to go. Now you have nice K&N filter. It's filtrating nicely, unlike this junk. So it'll filter better. It looks a lot better than some green weird looking thing, and you're all set. Keep boosting.